Right, live your today but plan your tomorrow. I'm talking about your finances, that is. Today is World Financial Planning Day. The global campaign aims to raise awareness about financial literacy and investor protection, but it also recognizes the role of financial planners. So, to talk more about this, I'm joined by personal financial commentator Lungile Mashego joins me this morning for this discussion. Lungile, good morning to you and thank you so much for your time. I mean, at times, I think that financial planners are often treated like those calls you get from call center agents. You get a message on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm a financial advisor, I'd like to help you out, please call me back. And sometimes we just never do. But what's the value in financial advice that sometimes we often don't see?
I think financial advice is one of those underrated industries. I mean, they make such an impact to everyday people's lives. Studies have shown us that people who seek financial advice are generally better off than people who don't. They also accumulate more assets. So despite what they earn and how much money their family brings in, they experience better returns than people who don't get financial advice. And they obviously portray more financial confidence because they're used to having conversations around their money. So there's definitely benefit in communicating and partnering with a financial advisor in order to get your financial affairs in order.
Yeah. So how would you advise me to choose the right financial advisor or financial planner? Because these are my finances. I need to make sure that I have my ducks in a row. It's not just about handing over my finances over, but also learning and understanding exactly what my finances mean.
I think the most important thing for someone to do when they are seeking financial advice is to check that the financial advisors that they are considering are registered with the FSCA. So you just need to get the financial advisor's name and go onto the FSCA website and put it in. And it will tell you whether this person is registered to render financial advice. And that's the most important step. You have to get somebody who is reputable and who understands financial markets in order for you to make fruitful financial decisions.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have to find somebody who speaks in a language that you can understand, because money on its own is something we don't want to talk about. So if you find somebody that you can relate to from a language perspective and you think that this person can explain to you in things that you can understand, that's also a very important thing to look out for. And you have to find somebody who takes time to understand your situation. So these are the questions that you have to ask, because, in some instances, I know people have experienced financial advisors to be really pushing products and not necessarily wanting to understand their financial situations. So it is important just before you communicate with an advisor to understand what is their process when you are engaging with them. Are they going to do a financial needs analysis, which is required? And what are the steps that they're going to follow in order to make sure that you have a prosperous financial future?
Right. I mean, with the current economy, and I suppose, South Africans feeling the pinch at this time, it seems everything's going up, but our salaries, our incomes are staying the same, and yet we still talk about financial planning, investing and saving. How important is a day like World Financial Planning Day in terms of financial literacy, Lungile, so that we better know what to do during these trying times?
I think financial literacy on its own is much needed in South Africa. That's why, I do the work that I do. And that's why I always encourage people to partner with financial advisors. I know the situation is tough at the moment. And, normally because our incomes are not getting better and, the demands on our money keep increasing, I think that's a crucial time to speak to a financial advisor, because what it also brings in is that they do not have the emotional connection to money or our money that we do. So they can look at your finances objectively and give you advice on what the next steps are, considering the current economic situation as well as, your income. So I think there hasn't been a better time to talk to a financial advisor, because they can help you navigate the mess that we're in economically.
Absolutely. I want to take it into the household, because we're talking financial planning at a more broader level. But I mean, when I think of parents and young kids, Gareth was asking earlier on if there's any adequate financial literacy in our schools. And my answer was, I don't think most schools have financial literacy as a subject. How can parents be financial planners and advisors to the little ones who probably have those piggy banks, and just so to groom them as they grow older, to have a relationship with money, a better relationship at that?
No, absolutely. It's very important to start teaching children about money at an early age. So parents can definitely take the learnings that they are learning from, the resources that they use to embark to teach their children about money. And some of the steps that they can follow, there are quite a few books that are written. I think one of them is called the Nala series of books by a lady called Gugu Sidaki. And it really breaks down money in such a simple way for children. It's aimed at children between the ages of 4 and 12. So it helps the parents easily start having the conversations about money, teaching your children how to save, how to budget, and how to share some of the money that you have. So unfortunately, that education is not available in schools, but there are people who do offer these courses, and parents can really translate this information that they're learning in a child appropriate way.
Yeah, and I just wonder for any young one listening to our conversation, they might be asking, Auntie Tumi and Auntie Lungile, is Mummy a qualified service provider? Because you said we need to check if they're registered with the right bodies for this. But listen, your mommy and daddy know what's best for you when it comes to money. So thank you so much, Lungile Mashego, for joining me right here on the South African Morning. It's important, of course, to, I just suppose, adhere to World Financial Planning Day and recognize what it aims to do just in terms of financial literacy in the country, if at least we understand that there's still more that needs to be done to introduce financial literacy within the country. So we'll keep going, having those conversations with you right here on the South African Morning.